Hello, everyone. It's Jerry at the Fledge, and welcome to episode 352 of Every Damn Day. So we're down to 13 more, I think, after today, and getting exciting to come to the end. Have to tell you, I can't wait for a little bit of a break. But as you might know, September 12th, we'll be putting out re-releases of things. We'll be putting out the audio version on all the platforms, and we will also be publishing data about stuff we learned. So I think the replay of Every Damn Day over the next year is going to be super interesting too. And got to give some shout outs. So first to Jason Alarm, a band that has been close to the Fledge since before we were the Fledge, back when we were still Your Mom Skateboards and the My Skate Park Club. So shout out to Jason Alarm. And we are downtown at Summerfest on the east side, and we're selling some of their old time albums for them. So stop by our booth if you come down there. And I think that's enough shout outs for today. So I'm gonna bring my guest on today. Hezekiah, how you doing, man?
Hey, how you doing?
So
I can make it up.
No, I'm glad you are. I think you're like the third person to be in their car. No, maybe more, because some people were driving across the country and stuff while they were doing the interview. Well, they weren't driving; they were passengers and stuff. So, but if you want to go drive around Lansing while we talk, that's okay too.
I like to pay attention to the roads.
Yeah, that'd be better, I think. Hey, you want to give a shout out to anyone?
Yeah, give a shout out to my wife. Been married 3 years this August. My parents. My parents. They live right next door to the Fledge. AOTA Creative. They're always doing good things. Just all my friends and family.
I think that's an awesome shout out. Your wife is going to be on the show, I think, in 2 days, right?
Okay.
She signed up. I don't have it written out. I can't remember what her business is called, but I will remember after the show. That's for sure.
Bella Vita.
Yeah, Bella Vita. So, I just want to show right now, Joe Walker saying, "Yo, good guess, Jerry." So you must know the champ, huh?
Yeah. No joke.
Hey, so we start out with learning about you. So, where were you born and raised? Where'd you go to school? I know one of your schools, and I'll be writing that down for sure. And kind of what led you to do what you're doing right now.
Yeah, so I'm 27 years old. I grew up in Lansing, born and raised on the east side, lived on the east side like my whole life. So my parents always they still live on the east side now. So went to Eastern High School, of course. Since you're on the east side, you got to go to Eastern High School. That's where I graduated from. Now, I took a couple years, was working for different companies and stuff, and then now I'm in college full time. So I go to Great Lakes Christian College, studying psychology. So be done with that in 2 years because I started late, but hey,
That's all right, though.
Yeah. And then, so I work with Campus Life. I'm a director for Lansing Schools. So Eastern.
Give me a couple seconds before we go into that so much.
Okay.
I think you skipped around a little bit. So
okay.
Did you go to like Bingham and Pattongill and Eastern?
Yeah, so Pattongill when it was the old Pattongill within the old Eastern. And then it was like, I'm like an anomaly because my 7th grade year, we're still in the old building. Then half of the year they changed us to the new building. So I got to experience both the buildings. So when I was at Pattongill, went to, I'm trying to remember elementary schools. I went to Mount Hope Elementary, which is now, I think it's like a magnet school now, right there in Mount Hope and Penn. So that's why I went to elementary school. So I've stayed on pretty much the east side my whole life. That's my where all my people are at. Yep.
So I think you skipped over a couple things though too, right? Aren't you a musician?
Yeah, so I am a musician. So I would say I'm probably like a full-time, especially today. I'm like a full-time musician because I just got done playing for a funeral for a close friend of mine, and then I got to head to Blessfest downtown, and I got to perform with somebody, and then I'm playing with somebody right after that, after my set, and then after that, later at night, I got to go to Mason to play for the Sun Dried Music Festival for a friend of mine. So I love music. Music is my thing. So that's what I'm doing when I'm not doing anything else. I'm playing music. So
Well, you got like 4 gigs today.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Yep. It's one of those days. Yeah.
I was going to ask you at some point if you were going to stop down on the east side at the Summerfest, but it doesn't sound like you're going to be making it.
Yeah. I'm already tight on schedule. I know I wanted to make it with you, so I'm excited to be on here with you. I've been seeing some of your shows and stuff, and then of course, I know you from my parents, next door. So yeah.
Yeah, I like your dad, man. I like your dad.
Yeah.
Oh, I like your parents. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say it like that, but I don't talk. I just wave to your mom and we say hi when she's walking with Sparrow to work.
Yeah, my dad's the talker. He's the one that talks.
So let's get into what you're doing now. So
Yeah. So I'm full time. Well, technically I'm part time. Work 20 hours with Campus Life, which is a nonprofit organization. Basically, just being inside the schools, making relationships with high school students. And I'm the director for like Eastern, Everett, and Sexton. So that's what I mean. That's what I love to do. I don't consider it like a job. It's my job, but it's really like I just hang out with students all day. Like we go bowling, play basketball. We go on trips. We go to Florida for spring break. That's our big trip. It's really just hanging out all the time, and so it's like there's no like set schedule. It's just like, hey, you want to go to a movie or something? And so that's what I do. I got a team, an amazing team behind me that's that I recruited that's also like super passionate about students and just like making sure you keep them out of trouble. Because I went to Eastern High School, so I know the lack that's there. I also worked at Eastern High School in 2019. And so like I got to really experience like on the administrative side, like, just some of the lack compared to other schools. So like trying to keep kids busy, because when kids aren't busy, they're getting into stuff that they shouldn't be getting into. And it's similar to what you're doing there, like just doing whatever you can to keep them, exploring their gifts and, following their dreams, and like, especially with like music and, art, which is huge. That's why I'm also connected with AOTA Creative. So, I've been talking with the Jose. Hopefully, we can start a music program within there soon. We've been talking. So, I know I talked to you about that a long time ago too.
I would still love to do it, but do it with Jose. Do it with Jose.
And also the village Lansing. Mike, I'm definitely gonna start something there too, like a music program. So
we can do it at more than one, because I'm
man. I just as much as I can give, because like as a musician growing up, I know my parents couldn't afford music lessons for me, so like everything I learned was just being under people and like YouTube, like just playing, and so like I wish I had that person that could like invest into me and my gift. So like now I want to be that person for other people who are interested in being a musician, guitar, piano, whatever, because it's needed, especially like in the inner city more so, like where you because like the stigma is that like music lessons are only for like rich people, and and they're expensive. Like if you ever looked at music lessons from like piano lessons and stuff, like they charge a lot. So like I want to do it for free and be able to invest into students. So that's my other passion on the side. That's being a musician.
we gotta find some ways to fund that so you can get paid a bit, but also get these kids like scholarships or whatever. And I'll be on the list with the village and AOTA or Michael Lynn and Jose any day, all day long. So I'd love to support that too. And that actually kind of it brings me to something I was thinking, man, should I ask him this? We didn't really prepare. You and I are both rushing a little bit right now, so we didn't
That's my
prepare as
fault.
much. But I want to talk to you about something, and you can always say, well, I don't want to talk about that right now. But
Yep.
what I wanted to talk about was, with all of the gun violence right now,
Yep.
we've had, I think at least 4 of the kids in the last couple of months have been in our studios before. They definitely have been talking with Michael at the Village. They probably touched base with AOTA. I don't know those facts, but I'm sure that they did. And we've got a chance here. We've got our finger on the pulse of something. And how are you involved with that? What are your thoughts on that? And this is a super tough question. I said I wouldn't come at you sideways. I'm not doing that. But
that's good. So my heart is for, like I said, like for students, especially like high school students. That's kind of like what my focus is. So like I have people on my team. So like one of my close friends who's also works with me with Campus Life, Marquand Jones. He grew up at Eastern with me, and he's been in and out of gangs. Like he was. I always tell him, and I'm not afraid to say, because I tell him all the time. I said, bro, I didn't like you in high school because he was the one that was always in trouble and stuff. And like if you get to hear like his story, and see where he's at now. Now he owns like a successful photography business. Like he's mentoring students. He's even like teaching a class for school days, ET's program in Sexton High School. Like he's doing a lot, and because his heart is there. Like he used to be in those shootouts and stuff like that. And so like I'm not the person that's gonna be like, I understand, even though I went to Eastern High School, I have family members in and out of prison and stuff. So like I've been around it, but I was never like involved in it. But I always say that it doesn't matter if you're, if you were in that, background, like if you were in a gang or whatever, you can still invest into students. You can still, keep them out of trouble, because they're not looking for somebody that, they're not always looking for somebody that could relate. They're just looking for a positive role model. And a lot from working in the schools, because I used to work at Eastern High School, like I said, I did restorative justice. So I dealt with a lot of students, usually breaking up fights and stuff, and dealing with the students, trying to facilitate conversations between the students that had issues with other students. And so it was like high intensity, like high stress job, but I loved it. And
Did you work for Marcel Crothers?
Yep.
I grew up with him. Him and I go way back.
Mr. Carruthers, man. I always like brag on him, because like he holds it down at Eastern High School. Like the kids know when he comes around, they ain't
he will whoop someone's butt, man.
Yeah.
I would swear if I wasn't sure how many of your youth might be watching, but I'm sure they swear too. But
Oh yeah. Oh, most definitely. So like it's really just being able to invest into the students. Like I said, like all we do is try to keep them busy, and like let them experience certain things. Like I still have students that graduated that still call me up and like, hey, like, can you like help me change this tire, like help me change the brakes on my car, because like a lot of them don't have father figures in their lives. And I got to see like the program that they have at Eastern, so I got to see like their parents and stuff like that, certain information about them. And a lot of them don't have parents. They're raised by their grandparents or aunts and uncles. Like, so there's a lack of father figures. And so like to be a positive role model is like just the thing. And I'm not going in there. And I always tell people, like, even when I, bring new people on my team, like, we're not in there to save them. Like, we're, don't have a savior complex. Like, we're not in there. We're just in there. They're still kids. Like, they just have like different experiences. The kids, like a lot of people get bad images, and people are scared to go into Sexton High School or Eastern High School because of those, false thoughts that they have. But I mean, they're still kids, like they still, they're still goofy and still got like, still play around a lot. Like, so I have some of my best times with students, and just being able to, invest in them as much as I can. So.
That you're saying that about the kids and people are scared to go in there. I always tell people that want my advice on how to just make little differences. Like they're not going to get in front of somebody that's got a gun and trying to break that stuff up.
Right.
But what's the little thing they can do? And I always tell them, just smile, say hello, or say, hey, can I help you with that? To some young kid that you're scared of.
Yep.
People walk around scared of kids.
Yeah.
And that blows my mind, especially if they're kids of color, black and brown kids.
Yep. Almost definitely. And that's my that's my big thing now. Like the reason I'm going into psychology is there's a real lack for like mental health care, especially like within young people, especially black and brown kids.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to like growing up in that, seeing that, experiencing that as a brown kid, you know, like seeing the stigma that's behind like mental health. Like we think, you know, we're taught like that going to a counselor or to a psychiatrist is if you're crazy. And, you know, I always say like, you know, that like everybody needs to go to a counselor or a therapist. You like
Yep.
it's mental health. Just like, you know, if you break your arm, you go to a doctor, like everybody, you know, or you just get regular checkups, you know, at a doctor. You should get regular checkups at, because they're doctors, you know, like they're mental health doctors. So that's my
Yeah.
goal, is to be able to help normalize mental health care and like being able to, you know, help counsel and you know, maybe give some therapy services to students that have that stigma, or, you know, think that mental health care isn't that important. So yeah.
I'm blown away that, you know, that's your path and that's what you're doing right now. Because we do talk once in a while. We've talked about music, but I didn't know the other work that you were involved in and what you were trying to do there. And, you know, do you use those two? And I'm always scared, the white pastor starts rapping, you know, it's going to be horrible, right? but you know, and not even that, just almost any time when you're trying to put that good message. But I Jose doesn't mess with that, and he sounds good all the time. What are you rapping? Are you playing folk music? Are you what kind of music are you?
So I do go to church. So I'm like the worship leader at my church, River's Edge Community Center. It's on the west side of Lansing. And that's where I live now that I'm in college. But so most of the music I make is, I would say, I love John Mayer. So that was like I know all the John Mayer songs. So like I love blues, soul, R&B. That's like my favorite. So it's really like a blend of like soul, like I wouldn't say really R&B-ish, but it's definitely like soulful, guitar driven for sure. So
is your music online?
So I'm working on a project, and if you meet any artists or whatever, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, I'm working on a project that they've been working on for years." So like it's been like I have some songs done, I just have to release them. So yeah, if you want to hear some, I'm playing at Bless Fest today at 4:20. So yeah.
You're playing? Oh yeah. 420 thing was last week, right?
Yeah. 2 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah. Should I share like your Instagram, or are you still working on promoting and all that?
No, that's fine. That's fine. I suck at promoting, so I just use my Instagram just for me. Yeah.
But I'd love to hear some of your music, because I love blues. I'll tell you that for sure.
Oh yeah.
And I'm sure it's not that white pastor, you know, trying to do whatever.
All right.
So I think it's pretty clear what your mission is. I don't know if you have a mission for your music that's different than the mission for what you're doing with the psychology and the work that you're doing now with kids. How would you kind of summarize it? Is it all moving kids forward?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like my heart's for especially inner city kids, because that's where I grew up. You know, like I know what it's like not to have money. I know what it's like to, you know, have hand-me-down clothes, and, you know, not being able to afford to go on trips and field trips and stuff with other kids. Like I know what it's like not to have. So like I want to be able to invest in and give as much as I can. So like music is just that avenue that I use, and that's like a big, because a lot of kids are into music, like especially
Yeah.
inner city kids, like they're trying, they're trying to rap, they're trying to make beats, they're trying. That's a big wave. So like if I could like influence them, and that's the conversation starter. Like, hey, yo, like I got a studio at home. Like, if you're trying to be for real, and like work on some stuff, they're like, well, like. So it starts a good conversation with them, and like I always try to, when I talk to somebody, like see what their interests are, like any student, like see what they're interested in, and try to like invest into that. So like music is my big thing. So like I connect more with students who love music because that's just,
Mm-hmm.
it's just that thing. That's why I'm connected with AOTA too. I always refer students to them too, because it's the same thing. Like trying to use music as that tool to, keep them busy, but also help mentor them into, staying away from all the stuff they need to stay away from. So
When we moved into the east side, you probably remember it because your dad and mom were probably like, what the heck is going on?
yeah.
But we opened up that was the very first thing we built out and opened up. And I swear that was open for 30 days straight, 24/7. Kids just coming in running after, because it was all free to them and all that. Yeah, your dad had to sit me down and have a talking to
Yeah.
about the shaking his windows.
Oh man, yeah.
But it's all good
but
now. It's all good
that's
now.
real though. That's the music is that's the heart, like, and that's why I also try to invest not just with music, but also get to pique their interest. Like, hey, like music could be like a career choice if you want to go into, but also like, what else are you interested in? Because I also don't want them to just focus solely on music, because there's also a lot of stuff that they can do as well besides that. Same thing with like kids that play sports. You want them to be at, invest all their time into sports, but also, that people, not everybody makes it to the NBA, and you don't want them to be, get
Yeah.
there and be discouraged and go back. So like I always try to invest into their other interests, especially if they got like entrepreneurial, spirits. Like, hey, like let's get started. You want to start a business? You can start it now. Like,
Yep.
I could connect you with some different organizations that will help you, so that's my whole thing, is like music is just that avenue to, point them
Yeah.
in the direction they should go. So
And a lot of kids get pressured into that either by, their peers. Oh, he wants to be a rapper, so I want to be a rapper. He's
yeah.
playing, this is whatever. And it's not really what they were born to do. They might be more born to be um, a mathematician or a scientist or a psychologist or
Right.
all these other things that they don't often get to explore because their mentors on their porch aren't doing any of those things. They're looking at Percocet and guns and
Yep.
I don't know, other bullshit, I guess. Sorry, I swore. I said
Oh,
it.
you good?
All right.
You're good, man.
So what do you do every damn day? That's a swear word, but it's built into the show to push this needle forward.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm in every day. Like it's like I said, Canvas Life. That's what I do when I'm not playing music. You know, I'm in school. When I'm not in school, I'm doing Canvas Life, investing into students. Like yesterday, we're at Sexton High School. We gave away. There's a church that I'm at, so Rivers Edge Community Church. They donated a lot of backpacks. They gave some away at Grand Ledge and Waverly High School, but then they gave some to us too. So we gave away 150 backpacks to students filled with school supplies yesterday at Sexton's open house. The day before, we gave away another, couple hundred at Eastern's open house. So like just
Nice.
little things, like trying to, because like I said, like I know what it's like not to have. Like when I was in high school, I used my sister's backpack that had holes in it, like after she graduated. So I know what it's like not to have nothing new. So to be able to do whatever I can to, make it not as, hard. So yeah.
I like the mission. I like what you do every day. So I was a Quaker in '84, right?
Oh, for real? Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I grew up on the south side and moved to the north side. I never lived on the east side.
Okay.
Until I did live in a house here for a couple months when I was bouncing around in between college things. So,
Okay. Yeah,
but
south side. Yeah.
yeah, the Big T, Hag Road. We daisy chain these shows together, and yesterday on the show I had this guy Leor Ron, and his question to you is, what could you do different every day to have a bigger impact? And I think he's looking for, like, what's a simple thing that you've been thinking about doing or something like that
Yeah, what I can do different every day.
that would have a bigger impact on the kids.
Oh man, I feel like I'm so like I have a lot going on already, so it's hard to like add to. If I was to change anything, I would definitely like be an advocate for, you know, especially churches, especially like big churches, especially predominantly white churches, to go in that. Like I talk to a lot of churches already, like pastors and stuff like that, to invest, especially into like Easter, Everett, Sexton, you know, because they need it a lot, you know, especially Sexton High School. Like our hearts for Sexton High School a lot more, because like I looked up statistics, and out of like 3,100 some schools in the state of Michigan, Sexton High School is in the bottom 100, you know, schools in the state. And you know, like you might, you know, like when you grow up in it, you're like, it's not that bad, but you know, like academically, there's a lot of, you know, and you know, Principal Bogan is doing, you know, amazing. You know, a lot of the staff are, you know, doing what they can, but like it just needs help from the community, needs help from different people. Like I always tell people, like if you're a lawyer, if you're a doctor, you know, just going in and being known and, you know, using whatever you're good at and investing into students, you know, because the students, they're the one, you know, everybody says that cliche saying like students are the next generation and they're the, you know, they're going to be the next rulers, you know, the leaders in the world, you know, and but it's so true, you know, like you don't want all these kids, you know, dropping out, because then that's what's going to increase gun violence. That's what's going to increase, you know, gang activity. That's what's going to increase when you don't have hope, or you don't have a future, if you don't feel like you're invested in, when you don't feel like you're important, then you're going to go do what you know what you
Whatever
do when
you
you
want.
don't feel important. Yeah, you're gonna, you know, do whatever you can to make it, you know. And so yeah, so I would say like be an advocate for other people, especially businesses, you know, churches, to, you know, invest more into the schools. Because when I was working there, I could see that there was not a lot of organizations or churches coming in, and you know, it was really sad, to be honest.
So a lot of people in the suburbs reach out to me and ask how they can help, right? And I try to get them to engage, you know, start bringing food to the pantry and stuff like that. You know, come volunteer, come to our coding club, come to one of our art shows, whatever. Just engage with us. But often they talk about their fear of coming into the community and not knowing if they're wanted. What response would you give to them there?
Oh man, I love that. I love that question. My response would be, and because I've been having this conversation with a lot of people, and so I would say that my response would be is, you know, they're, you know, the community is a community. They're people, just like they're people. Like they, you know, even if you live on the west side, it's all white or whatever. You know, like those are people. You go to the south side, they're people. You know, like, you know, it's a funny, like, it's a funny thing when people first come and first like actually like go and see this different, you know, environment, and you know, they begin to see like, oh, they're just like everybody else. They just like lack some things, or they're just not, you know, there's not that much support here, you know, like. So my advice would be like, just go and experience that, because obviously if you're having those thoughts, then you've never experienced that, and you've never met anybody and had conversations with people, and you're never going to get that alternate, you know, view or perception, you know. You're going to keep that stigma in the back of your head of like, oh, these people are going to, you know, because you're already thinking that these people are different, and they're not, you know, like there's a lot
And
of
your absence is making them think like you don't care. Right?
and that's what a lot of people do is they just ignore it. They just they know what's going on the South Side. They know what's going on in the city, and they're comfortable where they're at, so they don't do anything. And that's what hurts more than
Yeah.
I I would be amazingly surprised if somebody from the city was to or if somebody from the suburbs came in and they were like, oh, who's this guy? Like it's not it's just another person. So
Yeah. It kind of sucks though too, because the school district is going to drastically cut down on their volunteers this year because of
yes.
COVID. So it's going to be hard to go in and mentor kids and work with kids, but that's where they can reach out to AOTA. They can support the village. They can support the Fledge, probably a million other organizations that I don't mind both of us rattling off. Because we need a lot of mentors. We need a lot of people coming and showing these kids believable opportunity that they can do just like anybody else could do.
Yep.
If we help them and support them.
Oh yeah. Like I said, like the lack is there. Like there's a need for sure. Like a large need. Like you cannot get enough people. The more people, the better.
Yeah. It takes a village. I'll give a shout out to Eric and Michael.
Yeah.
So tomorrow on the show, Keontae Saxon, you must know him, right? KT, the conscious poet.
Yes, sir.
He's on the show tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah.
What question would you like to ask him?
Oh man, Key. I'm gonna make it hard for him. I'm gonna have to think of something hard for him to answer. Because he is a poet.
Well, don't make it just for him though.
True.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's tough. Coming up with questions is tough. I'm gonna need a second for this one.
Well, we came up with one earlier.
Oh yeah. But I was thinking about that. I would
You can change it.
No, that was. I would say, what is the special talent that you have that a lot of people don't know, or also connected to that, like changing a little bit, what is the talent that you can use that you're maybe not utilizing that could benefit the community? So
see that? Yeah, I like that one. I like that.
That's a lot better,
right. So, but I'm gonna flip it on you now.
Okay.
What either one of those questions, you're either your secret talent or a talent you're not utilizing that could benefit the community. How would you answer that?
Man, I feel like sometimes I stretch myself too thin. So I would say a talent that I don't utilize that I probably should is, man, I would say like public speaking, like being able to, I don't know, like go into the schools and speak and stuff. I like speaking, but I don't do it often. And a lot of people tell me like, bro, you need to speak more. Like you need to just, you could like you're good in front of an audience. So I would say like using public speaking more, like being able to encourage, and then also like being more involved with the social media aspect too, like speaking on social media, because I just post pictures. I suck at social media, so yeah, I would say that would probably benefit more people, I guess. So.
Well, speaking of social media, I'm putting that out on TikTok later today or tomorrow morning, and I'll answer the question myself and ask you all to stitch with me to answer it themselves too.
Yeah.
So, dude, I love what you're doing. I love the mission. I love the purpose. I love the passion. I love how you've got your whole life kind of, I wouldn't say your whole life because you got a wife. You got kids?
Not yet.
Okay. But you got a wife, so you're building a family or something, and how it's all kind of weaved in to push that needle forward to make our community stronger. Yeah.
Yeah. My wife, she's got her own whole life, and of course, the business. She's been super busy, so yeah, she's doing a lot too. So yeah.
So if I'm a commercial guy, I'll be like, so stay tuned on Monday to
Oh
find
yeah,
out
you're gonna
more.
want to hear that because she's like, I don't want to give too much away, but I mean, she is a product of when people invest in you, like what you can do. So yeah, it's definitely.
Sweet.
Yep.
All right, I can't wait to talk to her.
Yeah.
So, couple more things: happiness, sadness, joy, hope, or love. Which word or words would you like to talk about?
I would say love. That's probably the big one.
Yeah. Why you want to talk about that?
I just feel like there just needs to be more love, like just within the world in general. Like there's a lack of love and like compassion for other people. Like if you would just care about people, like there would be a lot less issues. So
We've had conversations about love as like the fertilizer for all four of those other words, whether it's happiness or sadness, because you can be sad because your heart's broke, and that makes your life so much better, sometimes, right?
Yeah.
A girl leaves you and whatever, and that makes it all, makes worth the richness of life. But, joy and hope and all of that, we throw love around enough, and hope's going to rise, and joy's going to rise, and happiness is going to rise. But without hell, you could have no heaven, right?
Yep.
So without sadness, you can't have those other things either.
Yep.
You got to know the difference.
Oh yeah.
I thought for sure you were going to say hope, because it's such a key word in the work, especially work with kids. But I think you are saying. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm putting words in your mouth. I don't mean it like that, but I'm vibing with what you're saying. And I think love and hope are so. We got to hug these kids, man. Maybe not physically hug them and all of that, but we got to be smiling and give them some trust and give them some respect, and realize that sagging ain't the biggest problem we have in America right now. And these kids are just expressing themselves and trying to shake some chains off them, in my opinion. So, anyways, you got me all passionate about this subject, because I love this work, and I love the people that you're working with, and I think we're gonna make a big difference.
Oh yeah.
So,
I just
thank
love.
you.
Yeah, love is that. That's the key, man. Yeah.
So thanks a lot for taking the time out. I know you're bouncing in between gigs and all of that, and I really appreciate it. Just got to give a shout out again to 99 Problems, but a Pitch Ain't One is coming up at 4 p.m. today. So I've got the links all over social media. If you want to pitch today, you got 99 seconds to convince the crowd to vote for you. The one with the most votes gets $99. So bring your crowd, bring a kid, and bring a puppy, and you're sure to win.
Oh yeah.
What would you like to take us out with, man?
Man, just love, man. Just continue to love on people, love on the community. Be involved in places that you normally wouldn't, because sometimes uncomfortability is good for you. And seeing that different perspective, because a lot of people just miss the perspective because they're not involved, and that's huge when you just have when you're just you don't have to understand, you just got to be there. So.
And I don't have anything to say to improve that. So thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, thank you for
Appreciate
having me,
you.
man.